Well then, my fellow Driftomaniacs, this week's RC Shop Talk time. Quite a few go faster mods and upgrades to cars, as this month's challenge is all about going faster. If I've not already posted the challenge video, it will be coming up within the next few hours, so do stay posted for that, as I've kind of expanded the challenge this month to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. Fingers crossed. But let me know your thoughts, guys, when you see the challenge video. Say, big theme on this week's Shop Talk time is speed and speed mods. As I say, a few restoration projects along the way. So let me get the camera now off the tripod, show you what I've got in mind. So what have we got in this video? Well, first up, guys, I'm going to talk about my Traxxas 4Tech 2.0 6S speedrun project. Then a minor repair but unusual one I've got to carry out on the Traxxas Rally Fiesta ST. Then I'm going to talk you through why there's only 3 wheels on my Alma Grommet 4x4 3S BLX. Then staying with the Alma theme, I'm going to talk about why the Alma Italian is just about ready to run, but not quite. And the love of my life, my Tamiya Wild Willie, awaiting restoration back to its original 80s style. And no Speed Week theme could be complete without an Alma 6S in there. So more on the Typhon and its upgrades in just a second. So with all that in mind, let me talk you through exactly what I've got planned for this bad boy Traxxas 4Tech 2.0 with its new 6S setup. Fingers crossed. Well, first up, the Traxxas 4Tech 2.0 with its Castle motor. Well, this one has gone out the window, guys, because I've got this 6S Castle motor fitted with a Castle Sidewinder 8 ESC. So my next task is to squeeze that on board this car. Now, I'm thinking take the receiver out of this box and just sit it on top of it, because if you look at where that servo is just squeezed in there, there is just enough room to fit this ESC in sideways. A little bit of work involved in doing that, but we shall see. So that's my first project, and speed being the theme this week, guys, this thing I'm convinced is going to absolutely fly, because I've tested it on 6S on the bench and it is scary. Saying that I've tested it with this 6S pack. This clearly is too big to fit in the car. However, these two Venom fly packs will sit just low enough to fit under that battery tray on here. However, they need a little adapter. But the trouble is I've got Traxxas one on this end. So my first task to get the soldering iron and replace this Traxxas plug with one of those. That will then enable me to run those two Venom packs in here in series to run 6S on the Traxxas 4Tech to fit that motor up nicely. And next up, the Traxxas Rally. What a problem, guys. Landed on the ground and the rear wing simply fell off onto the ground. I'd not taken a hard bump on the top of it prior to it happening, it just simply fell off on the ground. Skatepark is a very hard taskmaster indeed. All 4 screws still in the top wing. So the thing with the shot there, guys, was literally just pulled through the inside of the body. Now what I'm thinking is probably a little piece of aluminum stretched over the top of there, bent around a bit before I fasten the screws back in there again. What do you think, guys? Your input needed on that one, but I think a little bit of room over there should be able to get around the problem fairly easily. Okay, so next up, the Alma Grommet 3-wheeled 4x4 3S BLX. So what's the issue with this, Richie? Well, the keen rod amongst you may have spotted it's got MX28 Badlands tyres on here. Now, where's this one sat on its own? Because this one keeps coming undone. The reason for this, guys, fairly obvious when you flick it over. The hex is beginning to wear out on the inside, because in order to fit the MX28 to the granite, you've got to put adapters on to switch from the 40mm hex the granite has as standard to a 12mm hex. Now these Techno ones I've got on here, the recommended ones, they're absolutely brilliant, absolutely superb, very well engineered indeed, but they're almost too tough with the power on there. That metal hex is grinding out the inside of the wheel on here. What's the problem? Why does the wheel keep falling off? Well, guys, when you're accelerating forwards, okay, the wheel rotating round that way, which is unscrewing motion on the nut. Not an issue normally when the hex is causing the wheel to travel at the same speed as it. when the hex rotates inside the hub, that causes the wheel nut to unscrew from the outside of the wheel, because the wheel isn't moving at the same speed as the hex. So the hex is unscrewing from the inside, the wheel is moving slower, therefore eventually the wheel nut falls off the car time and time again. Simple solution to this, guys. What is it? Is that tyre written off? Possibly. Simply swap it over to the other side, because on this side of the car the wheel is wanting to tighten the wheel nut up all the time. So tomorrow I'm going to swap the wheels over, which I would recommend if you've got the same kind of problem. You think, oh, I've ruined the wheel, swap it over, guys, tighten it up nice and tight, this one onto that side, and we shall see if it shall cure the problem. If not, I'll need a new set of wheels, but it's definitely worthwhile simply swapping the wheels over. Hope that makes sense there, guys. Well, swiftly moving on to the Alma Italian. First of all, this week I need to get a new tyre to replace that one that I ripped the other week. More to the point, the back of the car, guys, if you can remember on this, that I bent the drive shaft on it, and I said I bought some new drive shafts, $49.99 a pair. I really complained about them, and people said, nonsense, Rich, you can buy ones on eBay for $9.99, and you can buy these ones for another one at $9.99. I thought, I must be going crazy, I'm sure I've ordered the right part from the Alma website. What I'd ordered, guys, was the rated CVD ones on here. Now, all looks good, and you're thinking, well, if you bought those, Rich, why haven't you fitted them to the car? Well, guys, have a look in here, and everything all looks good now, but when you butt it up, so it's about the same length, see how much longer it is? It's about 1 centimetre longer on here, and when you fit them to the car, this hex sits about a full centimetre out from further out from the car. And I've emailed to Alma saying, I don't think I've ordered the right part. I've ordered this off your website for this car. It appears that they've been manufactured longer than they should be, and they're actually sending some new shorter ones out to fit the car. There wasn't very much given away by Alma from me as to whether that was like a manufacturing error or what was the cause of it, but they're sending some straight out in the post, so that hopefully when the shorter ones arrive this week, be able to fit those. So bit of a mystery, but result by Alma getting it sorted out. So that's why this isn't running yet, boys. Okay, now my restoration project for the week, guys, one I've been meaning to get around to is World Willie. This is an original Tamiya World Willie. I'm hoping to keep as much of it original as possible. Got a little bit of rust on there, on the steering arm and linkages on there, so I'm going to remove that completely. Again, the spring's going to take these off. Maybe even see if I can get them shot blasted or certainly cleaned up on there. I'm not inclined to buy new ones. I really do want to keep as much of this original as possible, even down to getting that original ESC in working order in there, which it may or may not be there, guys. I recognise I'm going to have to replace the receiver on there, but I've got a Spectrum set up which will hopefully drop straight in there. So fingers crossed, not too much work. One of the main problems, the tyres. A lot of the tyres, the rubber has just perished with the age of the car. This is from the 1980s, bear in mind, guys. The wheels are two-piece ones, so you can't just like pop the rubber off on here. So I'm having to douse the screws in WD-40 in order to separate that wheel into two parts, in order that I can fit the new tyres that I've got on over here. Now these cost an absolute arm and a leg, as Tamiya do not make. They make World Willie tyres for the World Willie 2. They do not make the original World Willie tyres, which you have no choice but to buy on eBay. Body is coming along nicely. I do need to get the screw kit to put it together, and I've also got the roll cage and the driver to paint up, which I shall do during the course of the evenings this week. Well, I did mention, guys, this week's theme was about speed, and this is the Mamba XLX ESC setup, all ready to be soldered up and fitted in to my Losi DB-XLE, which should give me a full 400 amps of power through this thing. I thought it was quick before. I suspect with the Mamba XLX in there, it will be absolutely terrifying, but we shall find out later this week. And lastly, onto the Alma V4S, guys. My last job of the day is to fill the rear diff with 200k oil on there, thanks to Phil Jolly for that recommendation. I've already done Phil's recommendation, putting 500k in the front. We've got a spool in the centre. Mods this week to the car that you can't see. We've got a 29 tooth pinion in there. Still the stock 40 tooth spur on the spool on there. Now it's run 89 miles an hour off camera, guys, with that setup on there, but it was taking like an age to get there. So I've dropped the pinion down from 42 tooth to 42. So that's in the next video. We're going to see if this thing run at speed. So I'm hopeful that'll push that up into the mid 90s, 94, 95, but we shall see. Have your guesses on this one, boys and girls. Baby steps on this one, boys and girls. Too much or too little on the gearing, you can drop up, you can get high speed but take an age to get there, or you can get there really quickly and not achieve the speed that you wanted to. Anyway, big shout out to Phil Jolly on that one, the master of the speed runs, guys. Speaking of speed runs, guys, do look out for this month's Driftomaniacs challenge. Speed runs, but as usual with us, a little bit of a twist in there. Only if you want it though, guys. So guys, that's it for this week's Shop Talk time. Lots for me to be getting on with over the next few hours, probably into the early hours of Sunday morning. Anyway, you don't want to miss any of this stuff running in anger, then don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this stuff, by all means, share with friends. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.